Hello, welcome to I Want a Lockpick. So yeah, I started a playthrough of this game a while ago. I promptly forgot everything I've ever done. And the playthrough was never released. So I think it's time to revisit this game. Back in the original playthrough, I went all the way to World 8 or 9 or 10, and I stopped. So yeah, this time we're going to try for a much more comprehensive playthrough, where I actually try to get like to the, well, quote unquote end of the game. I know there's some really interesting stuff later into the game, which I really want to get to, but we're gonna have to play through the basics for now. Ah, look, my old save is still there. We're gonna ignore it for now. We'll start a new save. So yeah, the original save had 25 hours with 114 puzzles. I cleared 9 areas, so yeah, there you go. Okay, let's start a new save. Alright, we have a cutscene. Hello, today I'd like to tell you a story about someone's journey to someplace special. That someone is this pleasant girl named Lily, who is currently waving at you. Say hi. Hi. Recently, she's been wanting to get out of the house for a bit and do something fun. And on this day, that something has made itself known. Today, she received an invitation from the Ambassador Society, which organizes events to unite normal people with the many gods which inhabit the world. A local god by the name of Kina apparently just opened up an enrichment program of sorts, and Lily, who had recently signed up for the Ambassador Society's waitlist and who lived nearby, was chosen to try it out. So she waves goodbye to a wonderful housemate, Marilyn, and sets off to see what this is all about. I think I see it up ahead. Looks like the map they gave me was indeed functional. Arrows? Okay, arrows don't actually let you move, it's WASD. Space to jump, yeah. You can double jump. Yeah. You must jump at least this high to enter. You must jump not this high to enter. I have no idea what's going on. So yeah, cool. Weird physics, but should be manageable. This is a fun looking building. I like the stars. Definitely can't reach up there. Hello. Hi. Hi, I'm here for the... Oh, oops, was dialing time for a second there. I'm here now, hello. So, welcome and stuff. My name is Kina, although my title is God of the Keys and Doors. I will be your guide for this next insert ambiguously long time period here. Nice to meet you, I'm Lily. You're from around here? Yeah, it was only about a 30-minute walk. It was nice to see the trees. Oh, it says nice on your face. I can vibe with a nature appreciator. So, do you know what we're gonna be doing here? There's a really fascinating lack of punctuation there. I don't know, the ambassador said something about an enrichment program, but that's about it. Alright, so here's the long and short of it. Are you familiar with the notion of using keys to unlock doors? Yeah? Okay, good, that's the hard part covered then. Today you will be solving puzzles based around the concept. Well, I should have seen that coming. This whole engagement will basically be split into different worlds, which you will travel between. Oh, okay. When you solve enough puzzles in one world, you get a special stone key to open up the next. That was just like a video game. Actually, that was probably the harder part to explain, but it seems like you got that covered. So we're all good now. Seems pretty reasonable to me, so how long will it take? That's a hard question to answer for more reasons that may seem initially obvious. I don't know, baseline estimate is probably a few days. To solve every puzzle? To solve enough to reach an ending of sorts? Sounds like there's gonna be quite a thing. It is certainly abundant in Thingness. Anyway, a special room has been prepared for you to eat, sleep, and relax while you spend time here. That's nice. Yeah. Obviously, I would appreciate the outcome where you do reach the end, but if you need to go for an emergency reasons or because you stop feeling it, then you can just do that. Good to know. Well, I think everything is fine on my end. I'm ready to start. Whoa, what is that face? Alright, I will initiate the warp sequence now. As you warp into Kina's domain, you are greeted by the sight of a strange forest. It seems that all sorts of strange sights and perhaps magical shenanigans may be in store for you. You are unsure just how much time you will be spending here, but it doesn't seem like you'll be in any rush to finish it. Let's see what's going on here. Let's see indeed. Nice forest. Yeah, okay, so this is the overworld that I'm familiar with. When I say overworld. I didn't realize these were semi-solids. Cool. And so yeah, we get apparently a stone key for each world we complete, and these locks require those keys to open. So yeah, that's really just the gist of it. Okay, so here's our guest room. I can talk to you. Pressing up talks to you, I think. Did I rewire it to like something else? Oops. Oh, here's a pause menu. So yeah, I think I did change the controls slightly. Up is still W, but I think interact is something else. Is it X now? I think it's X. Nope, it's not X. Is it up? It's not up. Is it space? What is the button to talk to you? Okay, apparently it's P for interact, I think. That's super weird. I don't remember changing it to be that, but yeah, P I think. Yeah, P talks to you. Excuse me, who are you? Do I space to confirm? I'm just Kina, your friendly neighborhood god of keys and doors. You must have clonked your noggin pretty hard if you forgot that. I didn't forget or anything, it's just... those were the only dialogue options I had, I guess. No worries, I'm just engaging in some old-fashioned japery. We've both been here from the start, obviously. Right. This is a weird conversation. You're the one who asked my name, even though you clearly already know. That's another high-grade jeep of mine, by the way. Nice to meet you. What am I doing here? Well, you came down here for the whole enrichment program thing, right? Yeah, the ambassador told me all about it. Oh, we're here for a whole... Sorry. You're here for a whole lot of enriching. And what substantiates that enriching? A whole hunkin' lot of puzzles. Right, okay. I can probably handle puzzles. Just take the staircase-shaped teleporter and get cracking. Solve puzzles and get stone keys for your efforts. Then open up a stone door and solve even more. Yeah, you bet. So apparently these staircases don't lead to the worlds, they're teleporters that look like stairs. Just solve whatever puzzles are available, really. New stuff will open up later. Okay. Feel free to ask in if you have any nicks of the questionable variety. What in the world does that even mean? Oh, because I'm asking what I should do next. Fine, W has to move, space to select, Z to cancel. Okay. We have a bunch of other controls here, but obviously because they are spoilers, some of them are actually not allowed. Also, there's a question 2 for some reason. Warp. Unlock later or download everything option, travel between worlds. Run switch is E, run, hold shift to run, hold control to walk. E to toggle, I guess. Backspace to leave. In a not solved kind of way. C, then the camera mode, also hides room comments. Jump and select both space, yeah. We have color blindness, which can change colors. Actually, you can just control all these colors however you like. I can set all tones to main, which... Oh, the default is the main color. Oh, okay. I somewhat see how like setting all tones to main sets them to all flat colors. Bright and default don't have any difference, but I guess like different colors have a different... Oh. I like the bright. Oh, okay, bright changes all colors. Oh. So basic and bright. I can see that the red is the one that changes the most abundantly, but the rest of the colors don't really change much. Yeah, so it's really only cyan and red that change in color. Well, I will use bright because I like that a bit more. Okay, accessibility. I have auto run, full jumps, everything, fast animations, and then height timer. Oh, in-game time will display by default. I didn't know that. I'll leave it on. Visual, and then we'll full screen soothing mode. I don't see any difference. Forces numerical lock sprites if you have trypophobia. I advise using it. Okay, not too much here. There's a bunch of extra stuff right now, so I can ask Lily to tell me a joke, I guess. I tried to backflip once. I learned an important lesson that day. I could do backflips. Oh, that's nice. I'm trapped here for the rest of eternity. It'd be a cruel fate if it happened to a person, but I'm just a UI element. That's what's known as a meta joke. Alright, I've had enough of your jokes. Let's look at the guest room. P to select is so weird. I don't know why I chose that. Because usually up is definitely the button I would use, but apparently I'm using P right now. That's super weird. Let's change that. Up to select. Yeah, there you go. Let's see what all this fridge has. Well, no. This thing is just full of curiosities. Oh, there are some beautiful star-shaped cookies in here. And a bunch of canned tea. I haven't even heard of half of these flavors. Guess I know what my picks are. I wonder what's in the freezer. This is the strangest gadget I've ever seen in my life. Wait, it's dispensing something. Oh. It's an ice maker makeup. And they come with ice already inside. Oh, well hello there ice cream cones. Didn't see you there. I think I'm warming up to this fridge. Haha, I get it. An ice cream maker? It makes ice cream makers? This is such a stylish bed. It'll be great to snooze under such an inviting blanket. Little Z's could comically rise from me in my slumber. Then every time I wake up, I'll be greeted to the side of that super cool constellation thing. Yeah. I could probably even take my shoes off and dive into the blankets and just sit there for a while if I wanted to. Honestly, everything about this bedroom lends itself to an immaculate nap time. It's incredible just how much this bed invites the imagination without me currently using it in any capacity. Here's a bunch of beans from Bean and Nothingness? I don't know. Oh, lots of books there, also from Bean and Nothingness. I am bearing witness to a wonderful mountain of beanbags. Okay, I was close. It's the perfect size to dive into and forget about the finer points of everyday life. I'll definitely be doing my reading here. Just dive into these beanbags. I mean, like the reference I was making was when you're in Bean and Nothingness, if you have a stack of like more than 72 beans, I think, the game just refuses to show all 72 beans and defaults to a sprite that looks like this. Guess I'll check out some books. Yep, I sure am looking at a bunch of book covers. Guess I should actually check one out. What's this called? Land of the Godless, Volume 1. Looks pretty thick. How about the back cover? In a universe where humans have to fend for themselves. That's a fun concept. Fiction is full of wonderful things. This one's looking like a candidate for future Beanbag Buddy. Right. What a work of fiction. I spy a textbook on this shelf. Modular Arithmetic, the language of clocks. This covers classic textbook fare too. An infinite void of clocks will have different amounts of hours on them. I mean, I wouldn't want to spend too much of my time here just reading a textbook, so this is probably a no-go. I'm tempted to though. Tempted. Modular arithmetic, as you'll eventually see, is a pretty important concept in this game. Ah, this is a nice cover. Wonders of the Heavenly Garden. Ah, it's a plant catalogue. Wow, I forgot just how colorful plants can be. Wait, I recognize that tree. Oh, and there's a sticky note too. Definitely this one. Kid's got a good eye for plants. Wait, does a tree count as a plant? No, yeah, it does. It's just not a house plant. Although does it count as a house plant if you grow it in a greenhouse? I'm going to choose to believe it does, even if it's annoying. I'm definitely going to assume you mean that tree over there. The one that has yellow leaves and like is clearly inside the house. But okay, it's completely oblivious to the fact that there is one right here. Any good books on this shelf? Oh, I spy a really, really thin one. Like, really thin. Wait, it doesn't even have pages. Writing flavor text for dummies. Alright, I'll buy it. What's inside? A mirror? I don't know who put this here, but the joke is lost on me. Reading flavor text for dummies. It is a beautiful tree. You can always imagine sleeping under it. Although it probably wouldn't be that comfortable. I would guess so. I could certainly sleep on the grass though. And the apple would fall on my head. Wait, never mind, this tree doesn't have apples. Best you could do is probably just a bunch of leaves. I'm pretty sure I could handle the cosmic hand of fate pelting me with a bunch of leaves. Would you also discover gravity if that were the case? By the way, Newton didn't like get the idea of gravity from an apple falling on his head. I'm pretty sure historically Isaac Newton saw an apple falling and then had the amazing idea of gravity, but never actually experienced it on his head. So, fun fact for you. Fun history debunk. There you go. Alright, everything else I think right now is just blocked off by stone locks. So let's solve some puzzles. Doorhaven. Ah yes, this music. Oh nice. So yeah, we got a bunch of levels to do here. Looks like we need 9 to complete the world. Keys and doors. Welcome to the world of doors. Before you are 3 of them, as well as some keys. Picking up a key allows you to open 1 door of the matching color. Your goal in every puzzle is to reach the green goal point. Let's start out with an easy one. Good luck. Ooh, hold on. The color of the purple key here is a little bit unseeable. I don't know if that's gonna be a problem or not. I don't think it really matters. Alright. We'll just play. So yeah, collecting the keys allows you to open the doors of the same color. And as a result, your goal is to reach this green tick. Easy enough. 2 of a kind. If you ever find yourself in an unsolvable pattern in a puzzle, press Z to rewind your actions or R to completely restart. So yeah, if you collect something, or if you open a door and you press Z to undo, it sends you back to the previous state before the action is made. You can also press backspace to leave a level and come back to it later. With that said, here's a puzzle you can conceivably fail. So yeah, the way to fail it is to open this one, collect this key, and then realize you can't do anything here. The more sensible option is to open this one, collect the white key, and then collect the orange key. There's a concept here that will be introduced later, so I'll let the levels do it. Color search. You'll encounter all sorts of different key and door types as you go along. For now though, let's build some experience. Sometimes working backwards from the end goal is a good way to get an idea of what to do. So yeah, in this case, you'll see 2 options, and there's only one that really works out here. You want the pink key. Working backwards, you'll want the purple key, and therefore you need to open this door. Otherwise, the second key that you get was never going to help you out. There you go. Level 1-4, double door. One major principle in this puzzle is comparing the number of keys with the number of doors. For example, here there are 8 doors but only 7 keys. Oh no, I hope this one's solvable. It should be. Okay, so what does it mean when there are only 7 keys for 8 doors? It means clearly that probably one of them is going to stay closed. And in that case, which one is going to stay closed? Well, we need 2 orange doors, so we need 2 orange keys. Therefore, we must enter this area. Otherwise, we only have 1 orange key and that's not going to work. As a result, working backwards, we need 2 white keys. And by the same logic, we need to access this area. Therefore, we need a green. And because there's only one green, we cannot open any of the other greens anywhere else. Therefore, collecting this green forces me to have to open this green door, so I cannot walk in here like that. I must take the other entrance. And this instantly solves the puzzle. So yeah, working backwards. There are quite a lot of mathematical concepts that will show up in here, like modular arithmetic, which I said before. I think pigeonhole principles will eventually show up as well. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Tunnels. Now I know this looks like a sudden jump in complexity, and it sort of is. However, there are sometimes moves you can make that will open a door at no net expense. Identifying moves like that will be useful in later puzzles. So yeah, this is one of those new concepts that we should be looking out for. So what defines a net zero move is a move that will not change your inventory. For example, this move here opens a white lock and then gives you a white key. So before that, I had 100. After doing this move, I now have also 100. Therefore, that move is a net zero. And it's usually defined by a lock followed by a key of the same color. In this case, I could and should make my only possible move, or only, reasonably possible move of this. Because obviously doing this is not going to work. It's going to get you stuck with 0 keys. Then looking out, we see another net zero here. And now we have 2 options, which is either this or this. And here's another concept that we can use, is that this is always more optimal of a move, I think. Because this doesn't give you any new thing to explore, whereas this does. So yeah, what I'm trying to say is that this gives you access to a blue lock, which would be useful in the future, whereas this gives you access to nothing, which definitely won't be useful in the future. Which is why I think the best move is to open this. Afterwards, the only move is to open this. I see another net zero down here. The only possible move is to do this. And as a result, I can now open the remaining locks, get the remaining keys, and win. So yeah. In my older playthrough, I solved quite a few of the early levels with zero logic. I just ran around and made random moves until I found the order in which I should get the keys in like a random fashion. Oh, now we have a split path. Yeah, so I'm just gonna go in numerical order, obviously. 1, 6, 3 choices. 3 choices. Oh my, there are 3 paths to the goal now. That's like 3 times as many ways you could mess things up. So, which way is the correct one? Okay, there is a little trick here. Besides net zeros, you realize that tunnels actually have 2 directions. So while you can just go through one, it's also possible to go backwards. Of course, this is not necessary in this level, because once you've gone through one, the goal is unlocked. So there's no reason to go through one and then try working your way into the others. There's no point. Which means that all our typical deductions here still work. All net zeros are still net zeros. You'll see soon that tunnels may actually reverse this concept, and net zeros may no longer be net zeros. Okay, here our only reasonable move is this. There are no net zeros here, but there are 2 options. Which one is better? Well, it's definitely the top because I get 1 more key out of that. Well, the only reasonable option now is this. And with 2 orange keys, I can now open this. At which point, the options or the answer is obvious. Also, I'm really sorry, I'm kind of going through a pretty bad cold right now. Or, I say cold, I mean, I'm just suffering like the runny nose of it. Which is why I'm occasionally muting myself to blow my nose. Hope it doesn't really affect anything. Anyway, level 17, Escort. Okay, so yeah, here are tunnels. Tunnels are interesting because you can work in them in 2 directions, meaning net zeros may not be net zeros. For example, this orange key down here could be a net zero, But if you manage to make your way across the other side, you could also gain an orange key without ever opening this lock. So our typical arguments of net zero are no longer accurate. Regarding your movement speed, you can hold shift to move faster on ground or control to slow down, which is very helpful in cramped spaces so you don't run into a key or door on accident. You can also press E to toggle auto run, which switches the run and walk speeds. So now I'm walking and now I'm running. So yeah. Okay, so we have a couple reasonable moves here. There is a net zero here. Once again, net zeros are no longer necessarily net zeros. There are still ways to reason out whether a net zero is a net zero or not. So can I figure out if I can prove whether there are net zeros in this level or not? Well, I'm not entirely sure. Okay, what I can do logically is figure out that I need one purple key to win, and I only have one purple key, and look at the amount of keys here, there is only one purple key in this level. Therefore, I cannot open any other purple locks. Which now allows me to say that I can only access this pink key. This pink key is hidden behind a purple door in both directions. So I can only open this pink key. Therefore, that one pink key has to be assigned to this door. Therefore, I can't open any other pink doors. So I need to enter through here. And I also need to not use my purple key. Okay. So I have two reasonable options. One is this, and one is this. Aha, we can now use a net zero argument. Because these purple doors are never going to be unlocked, they serve sort of as walls. We can't go through them. Therefore, this tunnel really is a tunnel. It isn't something you can go through. It really is a tunnel with a dead end. Therefore, a net zero argument will hold here. And our only reasonable move at this point is to do this. Okay, our only next reasonable move is this. I can see two net zeros. And we know that net zero is because of the purple locks being walls. Am I stuck? No, I have this move. Okay, and this should get us our pink key. There you go. So yeah, apparently a lot of these have actual pieces of logic that you can use, and I just wasn't clever enough back then to use logic. Fortunately though, the playthrough where I didn't use logic will never see the light of day. Okay, here are some extra levels, 1A, 1B, and 1C, I would assume. So before I do that, let's do the rest of the numbered levels. Greater than 1. Ah, you're doing well. Since you understand the basics of keys and doors now, let's introduce bulk keys and doors. I think it's also a good time to mention that by hovering the mouse over a key or door, you can see all of its properties. And you can also place pencil marks by using left click. Yeah, which will be very useful for keeping notes. So yeah, here you can... well, you can actually do a lot of things. You can draw, you can write. Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff you can do with pencil marks. I wouldn't use them unless absolutely necessary. A lot of the times numbers are very useful. A lot of the times X's and O's are also very useful. I've used those in my past playthroughs as well. Okay, so yeah, here are keys and locks which are bunched together. So 2 means I get 2 keys collecting that, and the locks with 2 holes in them means I need 2 keys to unlock them. So here we are stuck with 2 options. Let's try and work our way logically. We need 6 keys to get through here. And, well, we're gonna spend 2, so these 2 don't count towards our final count. There are a total of 10 white keys, that's a lot. Okay, I can already see the solution, but I do want to logically figure it out. We will need to open one of these. And the reason is because if we don't, then we only have 4 keys available, which will not allow us to open this white door. Remember, these 2 keys don't count, because we are going to be opening at least one of these doors anyway. So it seems logical that I open this to get the 2 keys. it's also possible to open this first and get 3 white keys. I would like to figure out which one is better. That doesn't use trial and error. Because... okay, so... because each of these orange doors use at least 2 keys, we're going to need to enter here. And... okay, I guess we can start by marking a couple things. What color is best here? Let's use red, I guess. Ooh, it's kind of hard to see. Black? No, black is horrible. None of these colors are good. They don't let you see much. The lighter colors are better, but still, they don't let you see much at all. Is it because of the background, or is it because of this thing? The dark colors are horrible. We'll use the light colors. So, we can mark out the net expense of each of these doors by a little bit. In terms of white. So, in terms of white, for example, that region was a -1 because you would lose 2 keys for 1 key. Here it's a +1. These are both +2s and +4s. I wonder what that helps us do. I don't know. But once again, because we are forced to open one of these doors, we now know that we have to -1 at some point. We need a 6, so we need a net 4 in total. Ah, okay, we need a net 4 because currently we have 2 keys. So by mapping all these out, we can actually see the only way to actually gain a net 4 is to open this. Yes, because no other combination of the remaining areas will get us a net 4 anyway. So if we ignore the 4 here, there's no way to gain 4 more keys. Yeah. Okay, so that means we need to open orange doors and we need to open this and this. That grants us a net of 0. Which is perfect, actually. A net of 0 plus a net of 4 gives us a total of 6. Yeah, and in fact, because we need to open this, we can now prove that we cannot open this because we've already lost the 3 orange keys by doing that. So this is no longer acceptable. And that's how I can use my X to basically mark this as not openable. So yeah, and finally, because we need to open both of these, there is a certain order we need to do them in. And it can't be starting with a -1. Because once we do that, we end up with 1 key and we cannot open this. Which means that the order in which we open these doors are this first, then this, and then finally this. And that gets us all 6 keys. Okay, that was a little bit more complicated than I would have liked, but I think it's best to go through all the basics just to make sure we can actually figure everything out in the coming worlds, because I know things will get a lot more complicated than that. Count the locks. It's time to play everyone's favorite game, Count the Locks. It's as simple as it sounds. Although, if you don't want to play that game, you could enable the simple locks option to turn everything into numbers. That's fine too. So yeah, is it in accessibility? No. What? Oh, is it in visual? It's in visual. So simple locks gives you all numbers, yeah. But I think it's a bit more charming, honestly, if all the locks have these numbers, yeah. Okay, so we start with 16 white keys. I mean, we'll just use our pencil mark function here to count the number of locks in each tunnel. Can I drag this around? No. Okay. Oh, very nice. It like aligns itself to the edge if I click too far off. Yeah, it does, even if I like click off screen. Okay, that's cool. Alright, let's just do some counting. So there's 2, 5, 7, 10, 11. 11. This is 8. I mean, this isn't really necessary. I can just count and then remember the numbers. This is 4, this is 10. Optimally, you definitely want to just use the tunnel that gives you the least keys. Sorry, the least that takes away the least keys. So here we have 2, for here we have 7. Is it 7? Or is it 8? Yeah, it's 7. And then here we have 8. Oh, this is 9, this is not 8, I'm sorry. I miscounted this white door as having 5. Oops. Okay. So yeah, if you want to logically solve this out, you see the only combination that gets you as low as 16 is the 9 and the 7. That's really just it. But if you just take the minimal path, which is the 9 and the 7 in this case, you will also get through. And that is guaranteed. For now. Alright, marketplace. Alright, here's a good puzzle to send you off after your stay in Doorhaven. The goal is simple, bring 6 white keys to the door. How you manage that is for you to figure out. Good luck. Okay. Okay, I really like the tiny detail that all the keys currently are in counts of powers of 2. So 16 purple, 8 orange, 4 green, 2 cyans. And I need 2, 4, 6, 8 white. Okay, well I can definitely start by eliminating some options. For example, this is definitely not going to work because it requires 3 cyan dolls, which I don't have. What else? Okay, well... Oh, no, there's more cyan here. Okay. Well, that changes things a bit. There's also a white door here. So potentially I can use up to 7. Four. Okay, I think the definite first deduction to make is to use green instead. Because we've now seen cyan and we realize that it's a horrible idea to use cyan to make deductions. That's never gonna work. Because you can have up to 4 cyans. More interesting would be green, I think. Yes, because look at the number of doors required for green. I have to miss out at least 1. I can't collect all of these because I would be then using 2, 4, 5, 6. One of these green doors allows me to get to this white key. So I have to use 6 green keys to get all of these whites, which is impossible. So we're definitely going to have to miss out on one of these. Or I can miss out both of these, which I'm not sure if that's the best option. Okay. There's also this green key. I feel like we can eliminate that being part of our options as well. But I'm not quite sure why. Yeah. Okay, so another thing here is to think about efficiency. This is equivalent to 1 white. Why? Because all the possible ways to get a key via blue is at least 2. So this cyan key is equivalent to 1 white key, because it allows you to access exactly 1 white key, at most. So we'll say optimally this is at best a singular white key, which costs 6 purple and 2 orange, right? So then my next question is that more efficient than this? Because this is just a purple door that's equivalent to 1 white key as well. This is a lower cost for a white key, so I might as well choose this one. Yeah, I might as well choose that. Obviously that's not like an airtight argument. You could say that you could say that optimally you choose none of those. But let's not think about that right now. Okay. What else can I do? I'm pretty sure green is how I start. Actually, can I argue about the fact that I need... This key is essentially... Well, I don't know. I know entering here results in a net 0, because you lose a white key for a white key, and then in the process you also lose a purple door. So like, this is just wholly unoptimal. This is 0 gain for a loss of purple. That's just completely not it. So I need to ask now, do I enter here? Okay, I think it's possible to say that out of these 5 keys, we lose 2. Yes. But how do I prove that? Well, we can take a look at the total cost for each option in terms of green. So this is 2 green, 2 green, 1 green, 1 green, 1 green, which sums to 7, and we only have 4. Okay, so we need to be able to save 3 greens from this, and the only way I can do that, at the very least, is to give up 2 keys. Because if I gave up 1 key, right, at most I'd be saving 2 green keys by giving up this white key, for example. So to save 3 green keys, I would need to give up 2 of these white keys. And I think that is the push we need to solve the puzzle. These green keys, these green locks, hold away 5 keys, of which we can only take 3. That, combined with the 3 remaining, gives us the fact that we need to collect those 3. Okay. It's good to get to 6, obviously. So that's my deduction. My deduction is that there's just too many things not behind green. We need to give up a lot of them. But yeah. Okay. With that, we can now try and decide which 2 green keys we give up. Well, I can say we give up this one. Because at this state, despite having 2 keys here, we've already used up both cyan keys to collect this one. So this is never openable at this point, so we give up this one. That's a cost of 1. So we save a cost of 1 here, yes, but we need to save a cost of 3. That is to say, we now need to save a cost of 2, which means that it has to be either this or this that we save. In other words, we can just freely collect the rest. Okay, we have options here, of course. Another deduction I can make. I need to open one of these, which requires the 2 cyan keys. Which requires 2 cyan keys. The only way to do that is to enter here. And with that, we've already lost all our orange, meaning this option is now unavailable. We have to do this. And I mean, now at this point, we can collect any of these and we're fine. So yeah, there you go. I don't know if I did the logic very well, but I hope you understand what I did there. Okay, well that was fun. So yeah, once again, every level has some sort of logic, which we can use. Okay, level 1A, more than 3 choices. Ooh, here you go. Here's the fun one. This one is the one that doesn't necessarily consider net zeros to be net zeros. Again, this is not a net 0. Jeez. Despite looking like it, because it can be considered a gain in pink if you go from the other side. Anyway, it seems that just like before, there are several different paths you could take here. Sure, just about anyone could navigate a jumble like this, but you might set yourself up for a rude awakening later down the line when you rely solely on your instincts. So, yeah. Okay, we can see that we need... we can see that we need 2 pinks. Therefore, we must gain a pink somewhere. A net 0 is not anymore a good option. We need to gain a pink. And we can see from here that this will always be a net 0, because there will always be a pink door before this pink. Therefore, we can say that this must be the gain, and therefore we have to cross this out. Okay, if we choose to not collect that, then our only feasible option to start is this. And that does look bad because I'm losing a pinky here. But remember there's another one here, so I could potentially net zero myself here. What that does mean though is that this can't be collected, because this would definitely give us a -1. Okay, our next only possible move is this. And now we have two options. We can either do this or this. But doing this is bad because our pinky is useless. We've already crossed out both of these. There's nothing we can use this pinky for. So we might as well just use the purple key for something else. There are a couple options. This is bad because I have no use for a cyan key at this point. Meaning I need to do this to open up a cyan key for us. And this will last through. Okay, purple. So we've already distinguished. We've already decided on a couple walls, which are unopenable doors. These are now actual tunnels with dead ends. So the net zero argument will hold in this case. This is net zero. Okay, but yes, this will be a net zero, and this is always good because there are walls here. In the previous case where net zeros were not good, or in the case where it could come from either side. But here it can only come from one direction, and therefore net zero will work here. So yeah, here's another net zero. This is actually a net zero as well for the same reason. Okay, and now my only possible move here. Well, I have a few moves, either this or this. I can say that one of them is probably bad. And it's probably the pink key. Because once again, I don't have any access to usable pink doors. So I am just going to go for the cyan key instead. And the cyan key has only one option. Here's a net zero. Okay. Hold on. I have a little bit of an inkling here. We might be doing something a little bit wrong. Okay, here's a hidden net zero. These two sets are hidden net zero. Because I have one orange now. If I open this, connect to the pink key, and then open the pink key for the orange key, that's a net zero. Now, why would I do that? Why would I not open this door instead? You'll see at the end that I need a white key to enter. This white key will immediately be used down here, which is bad. So what I want to do is use this white key to initiate a net zero, and then open this. Therefore, doing this doesn't work, because we don't want to open this yet. That leaves us with only one option. Which is a net zero, by the way. This white key allows us to initiate the new net zero. And then using the last purple key, I can get this pink key. And win. So yeah, good stuff. Okay, let's do 1B, flower. This flower has quite a lot of branching paths on its flower branches. I'm sure you could try every combination of ways to go, but only one of the 256 combinations will be correct. There has to be a better way to figure this out. So yeah, I mean, there's no harm in collecting these keys for now. Okay, we need 8 cyan keys, and each of these branches has exactly one key to collect, meaning we need to access all of these. But all of these also have 2 choices. So we will need to decide one choice for each key. Therefore, the 256 combinations possible. Okay, so some logic here is I can already start off by determining some keys that must be used. For example, in this area, a white key must be used. In this area, a white key must be used. In this area, an orange key must be used. And in this area, a purple key must be used. Okay. Here, an orange key must be used, and here, an orange key must be used. That is the 2 orange keys that we need to use, and therefore we can make a few deductions based on that. Firstly, we can't take the double orange key here, because that leaves us no orange keys to access this one. So this is forced. Secondly, up top, we can't use the orange key here, because again, we lose the orange key for this area. So that forces us to do this. Okay. Next. Green? Maybe not. How about pink? There's also the argument of keys versus locks. In this case, if we counted the total amount of keys, we have 16. Oh, I can't undo a restart. Dang it. 16 keys, and for each of these 8 paths, you need to open 2 locks per path, which is 16 locks. So you have 16 keys for 16 locks, which means you need to use every key exactly once. You cannot have any leftovers. Yeah. The general reason behind this deduction is somewhat of a uniqueness approach. Because I have 1 pink key left, and we know we must use it. This is actually not uniqueness, but because we must use this pink key, it must be either here or here. Yeah, that is true. Okay, here's another way to think about this. Let's not use pink, let's just use purple. We know that there is a single purple being used here. Therefore, the 2 more purples that we have must both be used as well. That is only possible with this option. There are no purples anywhere else, and this option only uses 1 purple, which leaves us with an extra purple that will never be used, which is bad. So yeah, we know that because 1 purple here is used, we need to use 2 more purples. Therefore, this option is forced. Now we have 3 greens, which must all be used. However, we do have 4 options for using green, which means that, you know, we'll be using 3 of them. Okay. I would guess our final deduction has to be related to white. Yeah, because I don't see anything else we can do with the remaining colors. So for white, we need 4 whites to be used. Unfortunately, all of these have possible options for 1 of those whites to be used. So here I can see that 1 pink must be used. We know that, and therefore the white has to go with it, leaving us 3 whites to be used. Ah, okay. How about this? How about this? Every time we use a green here, we sacrifice a white. So whenever we use a green here, we don't use a white. Here, whenever we use a green, we don't use a white. This is actually the exact same. Whenever we use a green, we don't use a white. The other 2 whites are basically equal, so in both cases, we lose that singular white. But every time we use a green, we don't use a white. And I think that's interesting, because that means that out of the 3 greens we use here, we save 3 whites. And we need to use 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, then 9 total. We save 3 greens. Sorry, we save 3 whites. Sorry, what does that mean? Let me think about that. That means in the remaining... Okay. So... I think that means we need to take this path. And this path. Well, no, not this path, but we need to take this path. But let me try and deduce why that is. Because every time we use green, right, we save on a white. And every time we use white, we basically don't use a green. So they're kind of mutually exclusive, you could say. I.e., I need to lose 2 more whites for this to work out. So yeah, the mutually exclusiveness of green and white here in these four options mean that I need to lose 2 whites. And wait, no. 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 I need to lose 3 whites because I only use one of them by not using green. So for these 4 options, 3 of them take the green option, 1 of them takes the white option, leaving us with 3 whites to be used. Okay, there you go. Because of that, we know 1 of the whites is going to be used here. We need to use 2 more whites. Therefore, this is the option that we need to take. Okay, that's my deduction. It's pretty complicated, but you see the logic there, hopefully. And now we know that because that pink isn't used, we must use the pink, and therefore this pink that we use. We have lost the ability to use green here, therefore all the other greens must be used. And that should just solve the puzzle, actually. Perfect. Nice. That was some really weird logic, but I got it. Alright, and finally 1C, Pentacolor Pattern. Oh dear, looking at all these keys and doors arranged in this cool pattern is making me a bit dizzy. But hey, at least most of the doors have matching keys in front of them, so you suddenly have an easy time opening them. Whether that solves the puzzle or not, I'm less sure of. So yeah, okay, I see. It's kind of like... Is this the opposite of a net zero? In this case, this is a net zero, but like... not really. Because it's a net zero that's useless. You start with 0 and you end with 0, it doesn't do anything. It gives you progress in the same direction, but in the end it's kind of almost just leaves you with an extra white key. So yeah, the goal is to first have 2 purples. And I have 3 options for that. So either this, this, or this. Then the next goal is to have 2 pinks. Then the next goal is to have 2 cyans, and the next goal is to have 2 oranges. And the greens are kind of pointless, they don't do anything. But I do notice that there are exactly 3 keys of each type. So for each of the colors that I have, I basically have 2 out of 3 that I need to choose. I will notice to start that this option loses an orange and this option loses a pink. This option loses nothing, which almost certainly makes me want to choose this. There might be some issues with that in the future, but I feel like that's a good move to start. So yeah, I'm now forced to either lose a pink or lose an orange. And both are bad. Both basically immediately force the remaining 2 keys to be collected afterwards. So if I lose a pink, then I have to use both remaining pinks to open this door. If I lose an orange, I need to use these 2 oranges to open this door. Okay, so let's work backwards. If I lose this orange, then these 2 oranges I need to use to open this door. But because I must have opened cyan before that, this cyan cannot be used to open that cyan door. The cyan door would already have been opened before I collected this. So these are both used. Okay, that seems okay, actually. Oh no, we work backwards now. Because of that, this is now forced to be not used, right? For the exact same reason. This setup here transposes down here. For us to have to open this sign, we can't have collected this pink key. And because the pink door must be opened before that, this pink key is useless, which means we need to collect both this and this. And therefore that forces us to not use this purple for the exact same reason. So these 3 setups are basically just shifted over versions of each other. Which now forces me to take this and this. Which I think is fine. Because we already said we're not going to use this orange key. So is that okay? Let's try that. We'll collect this. We'll collect this. Open this. Oh, there might be another issue, which is that these white keys to open the remaining locks are basically locked behind that. We need to fully complete one row, like so, for it to actually work. But I think we should be fine here, right? I don't know. We are forced to do this, as well as this. Ah, and that's an issue, because we need 2 whites, which we don't have. Okay. So I didn't really consider that. I'm not sure how you can foresee that to start. Yeah, I'm not sure you can foresee that idea to start, really. Other than the fact that, like... Yeah, I don't really know how this works. So we can already prove that, I guess, just by trial and error, that this is a bad idea. Let's do it the other way around, where instead, I collect this guy and this guy. We lose a pink for that, but that should be okay. Because I can collect these 2 pinks. I lose a blue for that, but that should also be okay. Yeah, and now I lose an orange for that, but it should once again be okay. Yeah, this solves the puzzle. Wow. Okay, so I think what I meant to... Not what I meant to say, but what I initially said about this being the first and best obvious move was correct. And then there were only 2 choices left from there, and so by trial and error you can easily figure out which one. Alright, there you go. Congratulations! This level took me a lot longer in the original playthrough, because I was bumbling about without using any logic. But yeah, the main logic that I had in this level is just, you know, narrowing my options down to 2 and then trying each of them out individually. Okay, we've beaten the world, and now we have 1 stone key, which we can use to open this. Stone key! I got myself that first stone key. Nicely done. The idea seems pretty basic, just keys and doors is fine by me. Yeah, it's gonna get a bit more complicated from here on out. Makes sense. Also, I don't mean to assume, but is it keys and doors because you're the god of keys and doors? Maybe. That's not really an answer. Well, I would definitely assume it is. I would think it is. Why else? I don't know. Also, strange to think that keys and doors require a god or goddess. Why would you need a god or goddess for keys and doors? I don't know. Anyway, yeah, we're gonna work on the next world next episode. So yeah. By now you should have gotten the gist of how each of these worlds work, the kind of logic they need to use in them. So yeah, we'll work on this next episode. Until then, hope you guys enjoyed the video. See you guys next time. Bye bye!